Welcome to Timothy Haggerty on YouTube.com. I am going to be doing my sermon show. I am going to be doing something different. I'm going to be doing Matthew chapter 24 in the New Testament. So, that's my cousin KJ from Texas. Okay. The signs of the end of the age. Jesus left the temple and was walking away with his disciples and came up to him to call his attention to its buildings. Do you see all those things? He asked. I tell you the truth, not one stone here will be left on another. Every one will be thrown down. And as Jesus was sitting on the mountains of Olives, the disciples came to him privately. And tell us, they said, when will this happen? And what will be the signs of your coming of the end of the age? Jesus answered, watch out that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, claiming, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. With all these things happening around the world, rumors of wars with America, China, Russia, America, and many other things. Everybody thinks that the end is right now, with everything going on here in 2020. But the real picture here is it's Matthew 24 that's happening right now. It's not the end. Nations will rise against nations, kingdoms against kingdoms. There will be famines and earthquakes and virtual places. All those are the beginning of birth pains. And when you be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, you will be hated by all nations because of me. And at that time many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of the wickedness, the love of most will grow cold, but he who stands firm to the end will be saved. And as this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So you understand that the end's not yet. It's still time. This is just Matthew 24 of things and signs showing of the near of the end age, but it's not here yet. So when you see and stand in the holy place of abundance that causes demolition, spoken of through the prophet Daniel, let them read and understand. When let those who are in Judah fear the mountain, let no one on the roof of his house go down to take anything out of his house. Let no one in the field go back and get his things. How dreadful it will be in those days for a pregnant woman and nursing a mother. Pray that your flight will not be taking place in the winter or the Sabbath, for then there will be a great distress of unequal from the beginning of the world until now, and never be equaled again. If those days have not been cut short, no one would survive. but for the sakes of the elects of those days will be shortened. At that time, if anyone says to you, look here, it is the Christ, or there he is, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will appear, and perform great signs and miracles to deceive even the elect, if that were possible. See, I have told you ahead of time. When he has said back here, when people would being cold, not honesty, and different stuff, you know, the Lord sees all things. You know, he looks at justice, karma, different things. And the Lord haunts that person till they actually do the right thing and be honest in all things. And be straight up. And yes, it's all about forgiving. It's all about making it right. It's all about coming to the person and saying they're sorry. But understand here, it's just not words, it's actions. It's about making an action, making an offer, making an offer in a way that you're truly sorry with all those things. You know, sometimes when you look in life, people have this fear in them. They don't know what to do, and they open a door that they shouldn't open. And basically, they feel all this inside them. They feel this love, but the fear of letting it out. They don't understand what's going through their mind. And, you know, God's gonna wake people up and understand fear's not the option, love's the option. It's just like what's happening around the world right now. It's so many people are paranoid, and they don't have faith that God's gonna pull us through this, okay? You know, they watch the news, they listen to all things, and all that. It's just like a person could be in a dark time, a dark place, and everybody around them, they kind of fool that person. But this one person, they just can't fool. He knows. He just has that ability, the wisdom that God gave him, and the abilities to know things. And when the person, you know, makes a mistake, God always told us to forgive the person. But it's just not based on words. It's based on making things right and things within. But I was basically using that as a format, basically the signs of the times of people turning against people, being cold, not being honest. What we actually need right now is love, you know? It's kind of like when, now of course this is not in the, precisely in the Bible, but if you go back to Adam and Eve in the second chapter of Genesis, when God created Adam, he took a rib from Adam to create Eve. They were a divine counterpart contract to be together. Kind of like if you look at a twin flame. A twin flame is a soulmate. But it's a high divine soulmate, so contract that certain abilities, when the awakening happens, you can connect with each other in so many different ways. Everything is in their own timing, but you know, I use that as a format that when two people are together and they truly care about each other and not be blinded by the fear within, that love shows and helps other people. The same thing what it's talking here about the coldness of people. What they need is to stop fearing and being cold and all that, and they need to show the love within and be honest in all things, and not be scared to come and ask for forgiveness and still make it right based on what they said, because your word is your bond. But it's the same concept. If you look at people today, it is fear within them, and they don't understand that they need to come to the light and have the understanding of love and compassion within. You see, when a person loves somebody and they are divine, meant to be together by destiny, they love that person for who they are, unconditionally. And it goes both ways. They can be so much alike, but yeah, some things are a little different because how they were raised. But it's a transform of their life and understanding that, like, God has a place in the world to guide people and not have them fall into darkness to wickedness. It doesn't even have to pertain to the Christian religion. Think about the universe. There are multiple religions out there, okay? We have the pagan religion, the wicked religion, the Buddhist religion, Islam, Jewish, Christian, Catholic, and etc., okay? But it all relates 90%, you know. The universe, or God, actually looks at something. It looks at balance, justice, karma, and universe demands balance to bring into place. Even if it's let's say, a divine counterpart, two people who the universe wants to come together. They want balance within. And the universe will do whatever it takes based on justice and karma, all within. Yes, I'm reading from the Bible, but I know things to other religions. And they all relate together. So you could voice your opinion or anything like that. It doesn't really matter to me. Because we shouldn't be judging anybody. That is not our job to do. Think of Jesus. He went where the sinners were. He didn't judge them. He talked to them. And he brought Matthew as one of his disciples. You know? So, let's say you hang out with people in multiple religions. It's not your right to judge that person. People make mistakes, but they have to balance that out and make the right to know that the universe wants to be fair with them and be by their side. They have to do the right thing first. And I'm just basically doing this based on when we look at an increase of wickedness and coldness and growing cold and many things and betrayal and different stuff in the world. So if we had more divine people together showing all the love, it would kind of equal the balance of the world and bring that inner balance within the whole world. I just have a different phrase of doing things, but that's me, and that's what I believe. So if anyone tells you there he is out in the desert, and do not go out or here, he is in the inner room, do not believe it. For the lightning that comes from the east is visible into the west. So will it be in the coming of the Son of Man. And whenever there is a corner, there is a vulture will gather. You know, when I just looked at this for a second, something popped in my head. So let me read this one more time. For as the light that comes from the east is invisible to the west. You remember in 2017 when we had that eclipse where it came from the west to the east, and they say 7 years later in 2024 that you will see from the east to the west. That is very intriguing, I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, and the star will fall from the sky, and the heavens and bodies will be shaken. A concept of the sun turning darkened, and there is actually a thing by science. If it had the full magnet of Yellowstone supervolcano, it could actually turn the sun as sackcloth. And basically, that quotes from Revelation chapter 6. At that time, the signs of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and all nations of the earth will mount. They will see the Son of Man coming on the cloud of the sky with the power and the great glory. He will send his angels with a loud trumpet called. They will gather his elect for the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. And when you learn this lesson from the fig tree, as soon as its figs get tender, it is leaving and coming out. You know that summer is near. Well, here is summer. We're in the process of summertime right now. Even so, when you see all these things, you know that it is near, right at the door. I tell you the truth, this generation will surely not pass away until all those things have happened. Heaven and earth will read that again. I tell you the truth, this generation will surely not pass away until all those things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my word will never pass away. Okay. The day and the hour unknown. No one knows about that day or hour, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in those days, before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage up in the days of Noah and entering the ark. They knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. That is how it will be in the coming of the Son of Man. 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken, the other will be left. 2 women will be grinding with the hand mill, one will be taken and one other will be left. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know of what day your Lord will come. But understand, this is if the owner of the house had known at what time of the night the thief was coming, he would have kept watch, and would not have let his house be broken into. So you also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect it. It's like, you can use that in the phrase, but he's showing us signs that the time is near. He's not giving us the day, the hour, the minute, or anything like that. But he's giving us a good time frame of all these things coming together. And when I read And not you quoting based on the Bible and based in general life stuff. So it says, so you also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour when you do not expect it. You know, in life, people go through things happen, things how they are not supposed to happen. They want to change how the process, all these things happen. Just like we say, people make mistakes and all that. And sometimes things wake up us when we least expect it. You know, and this fear you have inside you, bringing out the love within you, it can happen when you least expect it, and this pulls something right out of you. And I was just using that as a general advice talk about anything in a general life thing. Who then is the faithful and wise servant, who is the master has put in charge of the servants in his household, to give them their food at the proper time? It will be good for the servant whose master finds him doing so when he returns. I tell you the truth, if he will put his in charge of all his possessions, but suppose that that servant is wicked and says to himself, my master is staying away as long time, and he has then begun to beat his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunks. The master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, at an hour, and he is not aware. He will cut him down in pieces, and assist him in a place with the hypocrites, where they will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. You can look at that as that concept, but you can look at that in general life. When I talk about justice, karma, doing the right thing, balancing something out that was a wrong, even if it was a lot of confusion in it, it's about balancing things out, making it right, and doing the right thing. Now, I was just using that as a general thing in life to understand based on things. Because if you think about this for a second. For people who did something really bad, you know, judgment and karma, till they make things right, and by action, not just by words, he will cut him into pieces and assist him in a place with the hypocrites, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And I'm just using that as a format of an understanding based on justice and karma. Okay, so basically I read Matthew chapter 24, and I want to actually say a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, let's be with everybody right now, help them through this time period, help them, give them the faith, and not be fearful in anything they go through. And the people who did people wrong, there's justice and karma. All they need to do is do the right thing by action, the right way, in all things. You can look at it based on God, universe, whatever, but in all those things wants you to do a wrong from a right, and just be with everybody right now and guide them in the right direction in their life. Amen. I hope you have a nice day. I guess I promised a friend who joined my YouTube, it was new one, I told him I would do next week. I am going to do one next week, get back in the flow of things. Romans chapter 8. So, and yeah, I do things different, but that's who I am. So, I let God guide me. So, hope you have a wonderful day.